Alright, hello everybody, this is Aaron2u2, and I will be presenting Artifact Adventure. This is a game for the PC, came out in 2015 by an independent creator named Bluffman. I believe he is a Japanese creator, and this game meshes, I like to call it like an homage to the NES era of Final Fantasy and the Dragon Warrior / Dragon Quest series, where it does a lot of things that look a lot like that, and it puts in a few other twists too. Like there are choices matter decisions that don't really impact too much in the game, but they do impact the ending. So it gives you some instant replay value in that set. So I'm going to talk a little bit before I start, just because once I start, it's going to be hectic for about 5 minutes with a whole lot of stuff happening. And I might not have the chance to keep up. So, this game you'll see looks very much like it could fit into an NES style thing. We get to choose between 6 different characters at the start with 4 different slots, very much like Final Fantasy, but we will be picking one class in particular. All of our characters will be one class, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But without further ado, I'll go ahead and start here. Timing starts right when you hit new game, according to the SRC rules. So I'm going to fly through it pretty quickly. And I guess we'll start here in 3, 2, 1, and go. So, oh yeah, we have to hit a new file. Select a class. And we are picking the Dreamer class, who I'm going to name Dash. That is a throw out to my Dragon Warrior randomizer experience. That's the name I always use over there. And the other characters don't matter. It's just the first one. So King gives us the instruction. We need to kill the evil Swamp King. Swamp King is kind of a jerk, it seems. It might not be completely true, but we gained an artifact. Instead of magic or abilities, you have artifacts in this game, and any character can equip any one. However, there are definitely bad decisions that you can make, so you can goof up some stuff. So I always say save the game before we do that. So the first thing we do is we unlock the Jar Goblins, which are a little bit of a fetch quest, and here is one of them. You have to find them all and turn them in. Here's another artifact. This artifact lets you teleport back to the starting castle. We'll use that a few times. I mostly know where stuff is, but you will see me goof up a little bit there. And so right off the bat, we're using, we found an Elixir of Life, using that on our main character, and that is an additional 10 maximum hit points. We will be getting lots of elixirs. We really need a lot of them. So, it's Dash Rendar. Now I'm going to get rid of my other party members. There's no way to not pick people at the beginning. The only way to trim your party is to do this, and I will not sugarcoat what is happening. I am selling my party into slavery. Which is getting me a lot of money, which is good to start out the game, but morally dubious. And we'll be making a lot of those decisions as we go along, because the quickest way, it so happens, seems to be to do terrible things. So we will continue to do terrible things. I just bought some smoke bombs. They do what you might imagine. They allow you to retreat easier from battle. I will not use them right away. I'm actually going to take a couple of battles. And I'm also going to heal, because I have a tendency to die in the first area. Summer camp. That could be true, Retrothon. We could put it that way. So I am going to purchase an artifact before I leave, just to help me take down some of the initial enemies. I won't really use it after this. For the most part, like a lot of RPG runs, this game is very... this run is very optimized toward taking the minimum amount of fights you have to actually fight. So we run a lot, and basically ducking into a lot of areas and looting them without fighting anything. Come on. There we go. So, and here's our first battle. Which we'll run from. Very basic enemies. I think mites are the weakest enemy in the game. You'll see up there, there's an artifact floating around. I'm not going to get it. To try to reduce menuing, I only grab a few select artifacts. And the Authority of Kings item I got give me the option of doing one of 3 different things right at the beginning. I'm choosing the option to get the Airship, which lets me fly anywhere in the game. As you imagine, this is the fastest thing you can do. So I could go anywhere. I'm going to one of the first towns, the fortress here, where we have a few things to collect. That paper that we got from the guy, I don't expect people to keep up with the text, so I'm going to try to explain it, but that is a warp to this area. Now we are in the warehouse here, where, again, we're collecting some goblins. I think there's 65 total, but I'm only trying to get 10. So I just purchased this artifact and increased my maximum hit points by 30, and whenever I die... Yes, it's vanilla. The other 2 things you can get are both very good too. In fact, if you're doing a solo playthrough like I am, I suggest doing the option that lets you get 4 additional artifacts, but it doesn't work in the speedrun because you need to be able to go wherever you want in the speedrun, so... Alright, we're going to do a save here because we will take a few death warps. This game is very generous about death warps. You retain all of your goodies. We're going to use Smoke Bomb. This, you have to use them in advance, and then it gives you a chance to run away the second you run into enemies. And the game crashed. I just remembered something I missed, and forgive me, this is going to show some stuff on the screen because of the way I have this set up. But, come on. There we go. To reload the game and reposition it. So I apologize for that. There's a glitch in the game that I forgot about. And it is, you cannot use a smoke bomb if you're level 1 for some reason. So I'm going to go back to our airship cave, take a fight, gain a level, and we'll redo it. So I'm just going to wander around here. Yes, we crashed already. And this is no good. So we're going to use the magic to kill these guys. Except I won't be able to kill all of them, so hopefully I can physical it down. There we go. And, yeah, I think it's just the first battle you take. You can't smoke bomb out of. It just glitches, so... I wasn't 100% sure how it happened, but I failed to actually take any fights there. I'm almost dead, so I'm just not going to use them, and hopefully I can run from everything. Alright, here's the Wind Traveler artifact. This, for 5 MP in the overworld, lets you move at normal speed instead of that slow walk that you saw before. Yeah, I don't know. It was probably something they didn't expect. Anyway, here is Poison. Poison is in a lot of places, and we died. So, I guess we'll just restart. Now, we're not going to restart again. You save all of your money, and with that Spirit of Steel thing, I got all of my hit points back when I died. So, it's not that big of a deal. It's just a time loss. And I have my Airship Summoner spell, so that you don't die, get warped away from your airship, and can't do anything about it. We're just gonna run over the poison. And we're gonna hang left here. There's a branching path in this area. I'm not supposed to be anywhere where I am yet, as you might imagine. And I died again. Okay. I might just go ahead and use the smoke bomb thing again and hope that it works out. Rather than... Oh, and by the way, there's also day and night cycles. I forgot to mention that. As you might imagine, this proves to be more of an annoyance than something that's really neat. The towns do change depending on day or night. You usually can't talk to most of the people during the day. Okay. Take a breath. I'm gonna go back and get that extra level just in case that's what matters. And then we're gonna start using those things again. As far as I know, that is the only time that the game can glitch and crash on you. There we go. Those guys are a little bit harder, the fire bombs, but they also give more experience, which, you know, if you're playing this, I like to joke, is legitimately... That's great. And hey, level 2. Level 2, you get, every level you get a full MP HP refill, which makes grinding really sustainable at times. For the most part, oh yeah, and I'm going to use the smoke bomb. There we go. That's why we buy them, so that we don't die repeatedly here. But what we get in this area, this is called Wind's Graveyard, and it's probably something you should do around level 10. Level 8, level 10. Okay, and it failed. Okay. So I'm just having bad luck now. It gives you a chance to run away right off the bat, and it's pretty high odds. I don't know exactly how it's calculated. This game isn't like a lot of other games where you can go in and find like entire battle formulas listed somewhere, being a somewhat obscure game. Yeah, thank you for keeping track, Retro. There we go, has escaped. We run away immediately. I don't really need the smoke bombs after this because there's an item we get here that amplifies our ability to run. And that's why we prioritize this basically first. Otherwise, the problem with doing a solo character walkthrough, more than the fact that you can get slaughtered by everything really easily, is... and we just completed a quest, so... but part of the problem is that you just die really quickly to things, and it's harder to run away, so... It is a nice game. You're going to see a very weird run-through here, because I'm going to skip some stuff that won't make a whole lot of sense. But this area has a 50-50 chance, like there's a 50-50 path, and you get to choose between the two. It impacts the end of the game and what you get from it. So I'm taking a death warp now. This is on purpose. Because this is a little quicker than walking out, even though I had to go all this distance to do it. So now that we have the Guile of the Bandit artifact, we can run away a lot easier. I don't know exactly how it works, but it seems to almost always work. So we'll just leave it at that. Like, helps you run a whole lot more. Now we are in the Glowstone Mines. This is something that there's actually 2 different quests here. I'm going to use the Elixir of Guile. There we go. That Guile, by the way, increases your dexterity, your speed, so it's good for running, which we're going to need a lot of. Thank you for pointing that out, Retrothon. I'd forgotten to mention. The character class choice, there's 6 different characters, and the Dreamer class is, if you compare things to Final Fantasy, it is the Red Mage type of class. It's very... They have the ability to equip every item in the game, which, as you imagine, could be pretty useful. They get some MP gain. I think they're like the third. They get the 3rd most MP gain, which comes to be important later. This secondary area I'm in is actually really scary to fight right now. These are like level 25 to 30 enemies. So if I fail to run, I'm probably dying. That's why I saved the rest of the smoke bombs for this area, just for a little extra help getting away. I gotta grab this. So I'm very reliant upon these items I get. I'm not going to bother with that goblin because I think I've got enough already. Or I will in a minute, and I don't want to run around too much in here. But the other classes have the ability to possibly finish this up, you know, as a solo. I know some people have done the warrior, and I think the shaman, which is like a combination black mage, white mage. But this is, from what I can tell, the fastest. So we got the two important items there at the end. Death's Pact. I have to pronounce that right because it's a little tricky. Death's Pact is something that allows you to warp. It throws random warps in that you can just leave a place really quickly. Another thing we got here was the Traveler's Sword. His son is dying in the cave. We just lied to him to tell him that his son is fine because I want the sword. It doesn't help. I'm not going to really use it to attack, but it has a defense boost, which makes it useful. We also got the Glowstone, which we'll use for a quest in a little bit, but it's a quest that's required for our main experience grind later, and there will be a bit of a grind. So here's another storyline option. We are choosing to... This town has a healing water artifact that they make healing water, but if we take their artifact, they can't make it anymore. But we did anyway, because that gives us a heal spell, and as you can imagine, you need some sort of healing. This is actually one of the first things you can do that makes for a really difficult decision. I'm trying to remember. I think I got everything out of here. Yeah, where am I? I'm at 9 goblins. So I think, yeah, I'll get another one before we're done here. So now I'm going to fly around to a couple of other areas just to loot stuff. This area is the Beast Camp. It starts a quest to where you are given an item called Gauntlets. Yeah, we just ruined the town, basically. And we'll see in the ending, which it looks like we're way ahead of schedule, so I'll probably, unless this really goes bad, I'll probably show off some of that here. So we equip the Gauntlets. They give us attack and defense boost, and I think it makes you immune to poison. Not that that is a big deal. And yeah, there's a ton of different endings because there's so many different options. These quests that you can do to pick different results. So the ending is basically the same, but there's a few different things you can do. Here's a little trick. You can land on the bridge. Of course, it warps you. When you leave the town, you go out the other direction, though, so I still need to, unfortunately, use the Airship Summoner to summon it 2 squares away. So again, I'm just dropping in some places that we won't really need to visit. There's quest lines and stuff you can do, but I'm going to try to skip them. And I got here too late. I think I'm going to have to rest at the end to switch it to daytime. Yes, I think that's probably the best way to put it. It goes over the stuff that you've done. I've never played Star Ocean 2. I've seen it played a few times. But anyway, in this town we buy a couple of artifacts. One is something to heal poison, which we probably won't need, but I get it just in case because it could be really bad if we end up getting poison and no way to clear it. And the one on the right is a spell that increases that lets us cast a defense magic. I think this guy has something. There it is. So paired cutscenes. Interesting. Summer camp. That involves the ending too there. Alright, so we accepted a quest. We got the gray sword. There is something in the next cave we're going to. Capture that guy. Magic. I think that one's it. Fortitude and the foreign warp. We will be using that momentarily. And we're starting a quest with some shady dude here he'll give us 1,000 gold if we transport this to Lautenreck, the capital city. We are going to do it, and it's not going to work out exactly the way we want, so it's going to involve a little bit longer thing. This whole thing takes up a lot of time, but is actually really, it saves a bunch of time and gets you some extra money on the back end. Anyway, I'm going to turn in the quest about Wind the Bandit, where this kid asks us if we found anything there. We tell him no, because his dad gives us 10,000 gold to tell him no. So we lied to a kid for money. Again, that one, I'm not sure if that's good or bad, because I've seen both endings. Here's the guy we're supposed to give the package to. He's upset because the package was apparently short. This is apparently a scam set up by these dudes to make you do more work. Since I'm out 800 gold if I don't finish it, they expect you to not show up, so you basically travel it for free. Now I'm turning in the jar goblins that I've captured already. They're nice and all over the screen. I like the graphic. They're just little versions of that shady looking dude. But we do have the ability to get a couple artifacts now. This one is Sun and Moon. It gives us the ability to switch from daytime to nighttime. And this one is Thrill of Victory, which is a lot like, I think you call it the Whistle in the Dragon Quest series, where it just makes an enemy appear immediately in the area. So that is really, really good. We're going to need that later. And the Sun and the Moon thing is just to save time over having to visit inns constantly, because of the day-night cycles. It can be a bit of a problem. So we have to continue on this ore quest. Oh wait, key item foreign. So I've got 3 out of the 4 free warps. There's one that you can get later that we won't even use, and then the other ones all cost money, so I'm not going to bother doing it because there we go. Now I tagged this quest. I'm not 100% sure you have to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Lying to candy from a baby. It's a fun way of putting it. Alright, and our airship is still there. We didn't even have to warp to get it. We have to land outside of forest, because airships can't land in forest. Anyone knows that. And now we are in the gem mines. There's actually 2 things for us to do here, aside from looting. And for the most part, I'm only trying to loot stuff that sells well, but I haven't done a ton of research to know exactly what that is. So I'll probably loot some, cheap stuff along the way too. And duck in here. There's an artifact I'm not getting. There's a guy who complains about the criminals, because he's doing the same thing and thinks that you can just sell the ore for more money, which I think is true, but we're not doing this for the money, actually. We're doing it for later money, because this gives us a key item that we need to easily access a different area. Oh, down. I screw that up every time. So now, let's get poisoned. Poison barrier damage all the way across here. I'm going to go ahead and use that heal spell, just in case we get ambushed by something and don't immediately die. And so we got the ore, but we also need to get the, speaking of sellables, this here. The gray sword transforms with this artifact into the red sword. If you don't do the guy's quest, yeah, honestly, if I got killed there, that would have been a big deal, because it would have warped me fairly close back to where I needed to go. We're done with this area. There's a lot of fights, they can be pretty fun to do. The battle in this game is pretty interesting, although it can be done really, really fast at times too, like just spamming buttons. Oh, you know what? I did this wrong. I went to the wrong place first, excuse me. You can't do warps inside of towns, unfortunately. Here we go. I needed to scroll my my notes. I forgot where it was. So now we give the guy the remaining ore. He gives us a receipt so we can get paid, which is what we're all about. I need to complete the speedrun. I need... Oh, it's the key item. That's right. I need to spend around 500,000 gold to get everything I need. And we just got the... we did this quest. We got the Flame Blade. You do get quests for completing... or get experience for completing quests. The Flame Blade is actually something we're going to need for later. And this guy gives us the Seal of Bandits, so that bandits trust us. Which, again, we do need for later. Go ahead and equip that. Again, probably won't use it, but it's a good idea just to equip things, I think. And I am going to sell off the stuff that I don't need anymore. There we go. Because it's very important to keep your inventory as light as possible. So, we're basically done there. I don't think we're coming back. We're going on to the next area. This is the Magician's Mansion. This area is... there's nothing there. That's right. Oh, wait. Is there? Oh. A lot of these areas kind of look similar, so it's hard for me to remember exactly where stuff is. Oh yeah, some of the music in this game is pretty good, and some of it you hear when you're trying to go to sleep, and you don't want to hear it. But now we got the warp to the town of Cuomo, which we won't visit. I think the only thing we can get there is a Guile elixir, and those aren't the key ones. The ones we really need are the strength ones, because we are not a warrior class, and we are going to be finishing the game with offensive attacks, and because we'll never get enough magic to use magic offensively against the boss, unfortunately. And this is the weakness of the Dreamer class, that they are, you know, a jack of all trades, master of none. Again, very much like a Red Mage, except probably even less utility than you would get. But the fact that they can equip everything lets me route the gear that I want very precisely, and it just makes a lot of stuff easier. And they have just enough magic to make healing better as opposed to using the warrior. And unlike a shaman, they can take some hits. A shaman is, again, like a combination of a white mage, black mage. There's no distinction of that, because anybody can use any artifact, any spell. It's just the shaman class is the one that gets the highest intelligence stat, which in this game works. So, anyway, I'm here in the Magician's Mansion. We're looting everything. That's all we're here for, is to loot all the goods. You'll see a lot of this where I just go in areas specifically just to steal everything they have. That Whirlwind Staff is an item that uses a spell when you use it. It's not the best one. It's still pretty good, but there's a much better one we're going to get soon, so we're just going to sell that too. And again, in, like to say, traditional RPG speedrun fashion, we're just running from everything. Down here. So it's one of the unfortunate things about, you know, speedrun trying to show off a game, is that you don't get to see some of the intricacies of the fights. But it should be, it's a lot more fun to do casually, I think, in that regard. So this guy asked if we're going to interrupt his research. He asked us what he has to pay us for us to not get involved, and we accept his bribe and get a key to his treasury. So what he is doing is he's put the entire town of Cuomo asleep inside of his mansion, with the exception of like one or two random people who are there, you know, to let you know that everyone's at the mansion asleep. And we can kill him to free the spell. Or we can go along with his thing and accept the bribe and just take the loot, and the entire town of Cuomo apparently stays asleep forever. So, sucks to be them, I guess. So, we're going to... actually, I'm going to take a death warp, because these things will kill me fairly fast. And it's quicker than walking all the rest of the way out. So, there we go. Magician's Mansion has been fully looted. We will not come back here. This is actually a really interesting quest, and there's 2 tiers to it, depending on how you do it. But for the sake of speed, we are only worried about... There we go. We equip the plate mail for now, just to decrease the odds that I get, you know, randomly killed by something. Also, I forgot to use the Elixir Wisdom. Nope, I don't want to buy anything. We don't buy any gear for the sake of just saving our money as long as possible. Oh, and Airship Summoner. So, we have a few more places to loot before we get into the ever-fun grinding stage of the game. And I only want this one. This is the Elixir of Strength. I believe that I get every single Elixir of Strength that's possible, with the exception of the absolute last one, which requires fighting an optional Mega Boss. It's not quite as hard as the final boss, I think, although the final boss himself isn't ultra scary. And this is where I'm going, right? Yeah, Ice Cave. And that gives you like one of every elixir and a very good armor piece that I'm going to get one of before I get there anyway. So now this area is, again, very high level enemies. If I didn't have the ability to run, I'd get beat up a whole lot, and you know, you can see that that wasn't terrible. I do have a lot of hit points because of all of those elixirs of life. But here we go. We gained a melt berry. This is actually the second part of a quest, where the first part of the quest is still in this area too. But it saves time to not, you know, have to come back twice. So. But there's a quest from a person nearby in a nearby town of Frostiven who asks for the crystals of life that are in here. There's actually another whole quest chain, but we're going to completely ignore it. That's in here as well. I'm trying to remember which way to go here. I seem to think this is wrong. Yeah, this whole path is wrong. I needed to go the other direction. But I do have to manage to loot everything I can because, again, the money situation can be kind of tight. And there's actually a point where there's a bit of an RNG spike available where you'll see me do some save scumming possibly if the luck is particularly bad. And by particularly bad, I mean there's like a 50-50 chance for it, so it's not... Oh wait, that's right. This is the other quest. We don't want to bother with this. Sorry, I don't have maps or anything available for me to go through this, so I'm kind of doing it by memory, which unfortunately I just haven't played through this the vast amount of times you need to really burn it into your head. But here we go. There's a few different things to pick up here as well. Again, we're just kind of looting stuff, but I guess while I'm doing this, I can talk about some of the other classes that we're not picking. The warrior class is very much your stereotypical fighter. They get a ton of hit points, a ton of attack. Not the most attack, but pretty close, and they're just... You generally always want to have one of them in your party the same way you would like a knight. Fighter / knight in Final Fantasy. It makes the game a whole lot more difficult if you don't. You know, obviously excluding people who've done a lot of speedrun related stuff. I don't think there's anything Alright, we failed to run again. There we go, almost out of MP. Oh, and there we go. Guardian's Helm. A lot of extra defense. It's one of the better defense items in the game. Again, this is like a level 40 area, with level 50 being the max. So, we really shouldn't be here this early, but, you know, whatever. We're already here. And there are our Crystals of Life. Let's get out of here. The Death's Pact item is just so important to be able to dodge the nonsense that can come about. Sun and Moon, make it daytime. By just bad RNG. Okay, so another Elixir Life. Now there's a 2-part quest chain we're going to clear very quickly. This guy up here in the corner really wants the Crystals of Life. We're going to go ahead and give him the Crystals of Life. He eats them and turns into a crystal. Turns to crystal. This old guy lets us know that that's what happened, but there's an item you can use that will undo it, called the Meltberry. He did promise to give us 500,000 gold. However, using this, unfortunately, means that he loses his memory. So, the old guy thanks us for being a nice guy by giving us the Blizzard Staff, which is an absolutely critical item for us to get the full grind on here in a little bit. Exit out. So we're going to go to the storeroom, and we're going to store the Flame Blade because we need it later. And we're going to sell this stuff. Alright. And now we are going to get one more very important item for our grind before we start angling towards that. I've entered the Ice Tower. This is a fun little... it's a bit of a labyrinth, but there's this additional thing where you have to grab the Chilly Flame to melt ice pillars that are in the way. There are 3 towers in this game that are... They're basically have set up a barrier around the evil Swamp King, and if we do not destroy them, the Swamp King is much stronger, which is a perfectly fine way of going about it, but I'm not going to because I have no interest in making the game more difficult. And it's a lot quicker for us to clear those. As it is, with the way that I'm playing this, it is very difficult for me to beat this game, and I don't know if I'm going to survive this. This is... Yeah, those are the wrong guys to get ambushed by, because they can attack twice. Yeah, it's a fun, in quotes, element of the game that some of the enemies can attack twice. And most of the big bosses have that element to them. And I get ambushed. And we died. So I got the most important thing out of here. It'll cost me some time later, but I'll be stronger later that I don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to go ahead and skip the rest of that for now. The most important part was the purifying armor there. It gives us the ability to resist poison, which is very important. Plus it's basic. It is our endgame armor. We're not going to do anything beyond that. I couldn't remember where to go. So we're going to Wangan. This is another, you know, just another town in a long line of towns that we visit. Oh, it's the one next to her. That's right. We tag this quest. We let this lady know that, this lady lets us know that her son has been kidnapped. And there's just basically a whole kidnapper's hideout up here. Nobody's done anything about it for whatever reason. So I guess we're going to go and save the kid. And by save the kid, remember, for the most part, we're not doing the most honest and best options. you know, light side sort of things. So it may not appear to be the best option what we're going to do. This one is pretty questionable, I think, just overall. So saving here because we're about to go to a spot that will involve some save scumming if it doesn't work out well. So here's a town that's completely coated in poison called Poison Village. And there's an artifact in here that gives us a poison barrier. So I'm not worried about those little goblins anymore because I'm not going to turn in any. All of these chests have 1,000 gold in them. There's 5 of them, but I don't feel like getting the other ones. So we're just going to walk through. There's no enemies. What we do have back here is the Pot of Fate. That you throw money into it. It doubles your experience. So I now have a ×4 experience modifier active. It can go up to, I think, 32, which is absolutely insane, but I'm not going to do it. Just yet. Okay. I didn't need to rest to get my stuff back because I just took a ton of damage in that area. And now I am flying to the drill cave and the staff cave. I call it the drill cave. I don't know what it's really called. But we got a drill from the guy in exchange for the glowstone in Wangan. I don't want to fight them. But I will be taking fights now, so you'll get to see the opposite of what is before, where I was running from everything. Now I'm going to try to fight anything. So there's a path. You can choose 2 different options in here. I chose the path to get a treasure instead of saving a town. Wind Traveler. Whoop, and we walk right to the cave. And here, we're going to take all of the fights with the exception of one particular enemy formation. And we will use the Blizzard Staff, which we got from that quest a little while ago. And it does a ton of damage against all of these fire-based enemies. And with the ×4 experience, I'm gaining just an incredible amount of experience compared to what you would normally get. That's the formation we don't want to fight, because all of those enemies are slightly weak for this area, so it's going to give me terrible experience. I do hope you're enjoying the music. There's not a lot of different tracks, but I think that they're generally done pretty well. I'll speed through a lot of the damage sequence, but like there we just gained 3 levels, so now we're level 18. We fought like 4 enemies the entire game. Fireballs are maybe the best experience. I think there's another formation that's even better, but yeah. Oh yeah, this game is a lot of fun. It's I'm playing it through, you know, in the fastest way possible, basically. Or fastest way known. So I'm going to miss a lot of interesting stuff you can do. But here, we gain the golden staff. The room locks behind us, and poison starts flowing in. Here is the dude who wanted us to go this direction. So we're like slowly dying from poison stuck in this room. But there's a switch that you have to put the staff back in the chest. So then the door opens and you don't die from suffocation. So this guy gets the idea, like, hey, you go in here, give me the staff, and I'll go flip the switch and let you out. Now, me, I decide not to do that. I want to be the guy on the outside. So now he gives me the golden staff, and if I hit the switch here, I will save the guy. But I'm not going to do that. Whoops, went the wrong direction. So he's dead. He would have double-crossed us, I'm pretty sure. So we double-crossed him first to take out the golden staff. This is a very important item for what I'm trying to do here, which is make a lot of money. And I'm running from these enemies because I have an experience booster on, and they just don't give a lot of experience, so they're kind of a waste to fight. Here we go. Use this again. There we go, another couple levels. We get some money. Oh, that's right. I'll do that later. But as long as I can tell that we're getting ×4 experience, I'm going to stay here. Because this is our grind zone. But I'm going to... Whoops. Accidentally attacked. Well, I guess I'll attack again. As long as I'm getting, like, 5 digits, I know that the thing is on. And now I'm going to use the Thrill of Victory to get immediate encounters without having to do anything. There we go. Now we're level 23. We're going to do this until we hit level 50 or get extremely close. But at some point that experience modifier is going to wear off. And we'll have to redo the entire thing. Yeah, that was 35,000. That's pretty much the best. At some point, all of the level ups, I believe, take something like 35,000 experience. It's more than 25, but I don't think it's 50. I can't remember for sure. Doesn't really matter when you're just, you know, doing the same thing over and over anyway. There are some slightly better areas to grind in, but these enemies are by and large weak to fire. So I have something that does bonus damage, or I mean they're all strong, or they're weak to ice magic. And I have a blizzard staff that hits all enemies for ice damage, so it's a really convenient place to grind. Man, that guy, oh, he was, and that's something I haven't mentioned yet. Some of the enemies are overpowered compared to normal. They'll have an asterisk next to their name. That usually means they have a lot more hit points, and they take, oh wait, that wasn't actually what I wanted to do. Oh well. We're gonna fly to Fortress. I meant to teleport there, and I forgot. So it's still technically daytime. We're gonna finish up the Golden Staff quest. He gives us 150,000 gold for it, so that's good. You know, I like to sometimes understate things, but that's a lot of money. And we're gonna fly to Wangan really quick to save it again, because again, in the interest of, where am I at? I went too low. I always forget where Wangan is and end up going the wrong direction. So we're gonna redo this grinding cycle, but this experience booster thing I'm doing has a chance to fail. And we're gonna go ahead and throw up the poison barrier this time to save me from taking all of the damage. And you get that in this town, so you actually have to take a lot of poison damage to get the thing that removes poison damage, but there's no encounters in this town, so not even the monsters apparently could live with the poison. So the Jar of Fate here, see, that one failed. That one failed. I don't know what the odds are, I'm assuming they're like 50-50. At some point, this speedrun will involve coming here first and getting at least the ×8, if not ×16 multiplier, just because of... Where am I going? I went the wrong direction. It's right here. Sorry, I got a little confused. So we're just gonna do grinding for a while. Again, this is an RPG speedrun, and that's what you do in RPG speedruns. You end up just grinding a bunch at some point. So we'll just do this for a while. I'll kind of go over some of the other... Not that. That enemy group doesn't even give me 10,000 experience with the experience boost, so it's just... And as far as I can tell, the experience booster involves how many battles you fight, but it's also random. There's a lot of stuff that's just random, so I can't really control how long it's going to last. But going over some other parts of the game, the other classes, the total 6 classes you have are the Warrior, the Dreamer. Yeah, that's a big one. The Shaman, and I've kind of went over this before. The other three are Hermit, Monk, and Explorer. The Monk is, again, comparing to Final Fantasy classes, a lot like the Black Belt. They don't really equip weapons. I think there is one or two things they can equip, but it's mostly just physical damage, which starts to escalate like crazy over time. Their defense isn't very good, however, so they tend to be reliant upon having a fighter. I did before I did the speedrun, I did a casual playthrough of this and let my chat decide what my party was going to be. And they picked no warrior, no shaman, which made the game extremely difficult. Because I ended up having to have multiple healer classes. So the big magic class and the big defense class, which is gone. We also the hermit class you can compare to the thief from Final Fantasy. It does have an advantage to run. Oops. It tends to be able to equip some swords, some other fancy stuff, but defensively is pretty terrible. And its other thing is that it can equip bows, which I think only the fighter and Dreamer can do, or maybe it's just the Dreamer, because the Dreamer can equip everything. But the bow does a pretty decent amount of damage, but it uses ammo that is limited, which is kind of annoying. Because that means you either have to overstock them like crazy, so it's money intensive, or you just don't use them very often, which means you have to have an alternate weapon and like equip it on bosses. It's one of those things I like the idea of, but I don't think it functions super well. Especially because even with the bow, they still do less damage than like the fighter, the warrior class. But they look cool. They got like their head is wrapped in a turban. Oh, the experience modifier dropped off. So we go save it. What level are we at now? 37. It's probably not going to go in one go, unfortunately. So the reason why I'm saving it is that if the experience modifier, like if I end up throwing way too much money in here, I'm just going to reset the game, because it would mean having to do completely like additional quest lines that will take a lot longer than resetting the game would. And grinding is an issue in this game. It's actually the reason why I go down to one party member. So that's pretty good luck. We've had really good luck getting getting the experience thing to go. Because again, I think it's about 50-50. I have to wait to use this. If you try using this ability while you're in the airship, the game doesn't let you. I forget what the wording of the message is, but it's like, you can't do that, with like an exclamation point. Which is probably a limitation they put in so that the airship doesn't move twice as fast too. So if we get lucky, we'll get all the way to 50. If we get to like 48, I'll probably risk it. But I don't think we will. So we're very likely going to have to do one more cycle of this. So yeah, just a whole bunch of grinding. The other class that I didn't talk about yet is the Explorer class, and that one's the most unique, I think. Your character looks a lot like if I had to take inspiration from something directly, like if I had to force it, I would say a bit like the character from La Mulana. He's got the Explorer hat. Does not use a whip. That might just be more of a generic Indiana Jones sort of thing. They're a weird character in that they have the second highest intelligence stat. They get a decent amount of magic, so if you don't use a shaman, you probably want an explorer. Unfortunately, the Dreamer class doesn't get enough MP to be a good healer, because as you've probably experienced across many RPGs, the MP pool tends to be the biggest part about healing. There we go. A lot of experience again. They also can use guns, which are a little bit like the bow in that they use, you know, a specific amount of ammunition, and they do a ton of damage, but the ammunition is even more limited. And some of the bullets have special effects, like there's a fatal bullet that has a high chance of instantly killing things, which is great, except if you're like me, you're probably only using it against bosses. So I usually don't use that either. I don't like consumable gear. Unfortunately, this game isn't like like a Final Fantasy IV with, you know, arrows where you can buy mass quantities of them. Stuff's expensive. And yeah, so yeah, level 44. I have a feeling we're gonna end up bouncing out of here pretty quick due to, yeah, there it is. We ran out. Oops. I could just walk to the airship, but so one last time, we go to the grind, and then we'll be done, and we'll be max level, which means we basically can fight anything. We still don't have our full gear, and I still have the barrier has been lasting quite a bit. There's a lot of RNG when it comes to stuff like this, to where the barrier can fall off after like 10 seconds. There it is. It can fall after like 10 seconds, or it just lasts forever. I think there's like in my head, it's a straight 1% chance it just falls off every step you take. So we don't really need to get the double here, but we did. It's just insane luck, so that's perfect. That's the sort of luck you want, or that you'd hope for out of this. And we'll take the slow walk. I don't know if it's faster casting the spell or just walking. We don't really walk all that far in this game, in the overworld, because we have an airship. The map is really windy. You won't see a lot of it, but there's a lot of bridges, a lot of islands, and it's got more bridges than a Dragon Warrior Randomizer Seed. If you've played those, they tend to have a lot of bridges. There we go. So once we get to 50, we'll get out of here. There are multiple enemies that are extremely difficult to fight that are coming up that I can die on. So that's why we rush straight to this rather than risking. In fact, I've rerouted a lot of loot dives till after this, just because I kept dying in the areas and figured it was better I do it when I have full stats. But we're gonna dive areas specifically for strength elixirs, because again, we're not one of the higher damage classes. We're a very average class, and so we need every bit of strength we can get to physically demolish enemies. We also don't get the best weapon in the game, although the one we get is pretty much custom tailored to what we're doing. So, oh yeah, airship. We're done here. All right, what do I do next? Now we go to the Bandit Hideout. We've been avoiding this, and we got the villain sounding music. He lets us in because we got that bandit seal from that other quest earlier, so yay us. And naturally, we're going to loot the Bandit Hideout for everything it's worth. Because, you know, why not? And is there something here? No, I think there's actually nothing in any of the chests up here. Or not the chest, but in like the cupboards. But there's a decent amount of money. We're going to spend a ton of money here in just a moment. And we lost our barrier. That doesn't matter anymore. You get the hazy arrow. If we run out of space, I'll probably just throw that away, because arrows and bullets don't sell for a whole lot. And so there's two different quests here. One of them is the, again, this is, they've been kidnapping kids here, so we can resolve that quest in some fashion. And there's also a prisoner I'm going to talk to. He starts a quest line. I'm not going to do the quest line unless I'm in need of money later, but since I'm here, it involves bouncing back and forth a little bit. Basically, he's been imprisoned and is trying to escape the criminal life to visit his wife, but he left a pendant that's hers, and he can't get to it. And here we go. This guy sells us a circlet. This item, it reduces our defense, but it actually gives us auto healing during battle, which is huge, and it protects against every single element. So it's just a really good item. So we're gonna go and resolve the child kidnapping quest. Yeah, max level. That's the big thing. That I'm not the originator of this speedrun. We're fighting this scoundrel who's blocking his boss. Yeah, I'm not the initiator of the speedrun, and the previous version was about 3 hours. So anyway, we let this guy know that we're looking for the kid named Isaiah. He's like, dude, we kidnap all sorts of kids. I have no idea who Isaiah is. And he's like, do you want to fight me? And he's like, you know, if you fight me, nothing's gonna change. This entire place will burn down, everyone will die, and we'll just move on to the next place. So unfortunately, even though we're a hero or whatever, we can't take on this bandit organization. So instead, he offers to sell us one of the children for 5,000 gold. And there he is. So we lie to the mother and pretend like that is the kid. It's not. And we get 20,000 gold. So basically we just engaged in some light child trafficking, I think. I say light. Yeah, so there's a lot of morally dubious options in here. This is the one that gets us the money, and it's the easiest. We could tell her that nothing happened with the kid, and I think she gives us like 500 gold. Oh, that's right. I do this every time. I forget this path has nothing. Or we can sell her a kid, and she can think it's her son. And hopefully, you know, raise him, and I think I go up first. Yeah. It does seem that way, doesn't it? I don't necessarily condone the options that I'm making in this game, but it's the one that gets us the most money, so obviously it's the best option. Oh shoot. I'm gonna have to drop. I forgot to throw away some stuff in the last place, unfortunately. Oh wait. I also forgot to grab the item I was trying to get. There it is, Elixir of Magic. And so this is the back door to the Bandit's Hideout. If you don't have the thing, you have to go through here and sneak in, and you lose access to parts of it, but you can still complete the 2 quests. This guy wants the Frost Spirit. You can choose to take it, or you can let him have it. We're gonna let him have it. And then when we go back to Frosthaven next, we can trade it. We can get a sword out of it. So. Which we won't use that sword, but we'll combine it with the Flame Blade, the Frost Blade, to make the Ice Fire, which is not our final weapon, but we're going to use it for a while. So now we're in the Poison Cave. This actually has a path to the final boss, which you have to take if you don't have the Airship. I have the Airship, so we're not going to do it. But there is a strength elixir hidden way in the back here. So I'm gonna go get it, because that's what we do. We always get all those elixirs. But it does remind me, I need to go to a town after this to sell my stuff. I initially took a death warp here, but it's a little too lengthy. So this place is terrible. It's a gigantic labyrinth with poison everywhere that if you don't have the poison barrier for some reason, it's just going to be a complete nightmare. It reminds me a little bit of the underground areas of Ultima 6, where they're just long paths everywhere, tons of dead ends. I think my first playthrough was 7 hours, 8 hours, something like that. Well, I shouldn't say my first playthrough. I played it for a while, then I didn't like some of the character decisions I made, so I ended up playing it again. So it ends up that the Swamp King has a bunch of cultists who worship him, including a character that, because the king is looking for his daughter. His daughter happens to be here and has become one of the cultists. But I'm not going to worry about that. That doesn't impact anything we're going to do. So, unlike in, you know, Dragon Warrior, where you have to save the princess from the hands of the Dragon Lord, here, I always think I have to save it. I don't have to save the game. Here, instead, she's become one of his devotees and tells you to buzz off. Where am I going? Oh, here it is. So, and I forgot to use the Wind Traveler spell. This is the one place where it's really useful. So, yes, Swamp Cultists. There we go. We got the two things here, and then we're leaving. This whole section is a fight between the San people and the Sarah people. I don't know. They're fighting over the Holy Land in between their two towns, or the town and the castle there. And there's a bunch of different options you can do to resolve this particular scenario, because what you discover, or what I'm going to discover here in just a minute, is that there's a secret path into the Sarah castle. And if I give that information to the San people, they will use it to massacre the Sarah people. And if I give the information to the Sarah people, they will massacre the San people. If I give the information to neither side, they continue to fight in a bloody war for all of time. Basically. So I get to choose which path, which country is going to get more or less genocided. Or I can choose to not do it. I can rat out the guy we're going to see here in a minute who tells me how to get here. Frost armor is... there's like 5 endgame armor types. I already have one with the purifying armor. The frost armor definitely fits into that category too. It's a little bit weaker than what I have though, and I won't equip it. It halves fire damage, and the way that elemental damage works in this game, that would actually be a wrong assumption. You would think that that would be the fastest thing, and it's not. Or I should say fastest. It's not the most lucrative thing. The most lucrative thing is for me to actually give it to the Sarah, the place that I'm going to infiltrate, because they use their secret exit that they don't realize exists. Yeah, your decisions are heavy, but they pay you a lot of money, which is why I do it. Because again, money. I need money. I still need to buy something that costs 80,000 and something that costs 200,000, which I'm actually pretty close to. I had a tremendous amount of luck with the experience thing. Like, I barely lost any money. I usually expect to lose. I plan to lose around 100,000, and I lost like 10,000. All right, This guy tells me about this secret, says, shh, don't tell anybody, I want to loot this place. And there's actually some really important stuff here. Like, fighting that guy gives you what I think is a full revive. I don't need it, though, because if I'm dead, I'm dead. So, I tell them about the secret entrance. He gives me 35,000 gold. One of the most lucrative things that you can get over the entire course of the game. The somewhat lengthy path out. When I was, it doesn't take that long, but I was taking death warps. I used to do this earlier, and then I found that I kept dying. This game is on PC. You can find it on Steam. Oh, that's right. I couldn't remember what to do next. We're going to Frosthaven. Okay, I just waited till daytime on purpose to save a minute. Nope, wrong button. Let's go ahead and sell the frost armor. Let's go ahead and withdraw the flame blade. There we go. So we stored the flame blade earlier because it's actually involved in another quest. This is the guy that we gave that artifact to. He sells us the frost blade for 30,000. Now for another 50,000, we combine the weapon into the ice fire, which is a very interesting weapon in that mages can equip it. So we're not going to use the blizzard staff anymore. So then we just blew that 80,000. We're pretty close now to go money, but we have a few more things to do. But yeah, I think it's normally about $7. It's a very cheap game. Again, this was made by an independent creator named Bluffman over under the Playism banner. And if you've seen a lot of, like, you know, on the cheaper end Steam games, Playism has a lot of those, and so. Also, he's nice enough that he always retweets anything I say whenever I mention a game. And there is a quasi-sequel to this game. It's not. I don't think it's a sequel, but it's like, well, the game is, or it's called Artifact Adventure Gaiden, and it's made to look kind of like a Game Boy game. They did a different version of it that. There we go. Elixir of Life. They did a different version of it that uses modern colors that I think is the same price. And if you had to choose between the two, I'd pick that because honestly, the Game Boy greenish stuff bugs me. I haven't played it more than a couple minutes, but I've seen another streamer play it, and it looks like a lot of fun, and I want to get into it at some point. I chose to submit and got accepted for 8 different runs for Retrothon here, and on top of that, I've been involved in a couple of different randomizer tournaments, so I've been kind of busy to do too much other stuff, but okay. So we lit this whole place. We're basically invaded by monsters. We just lit dynamite that's exploding the whole place. It won't let us go back up. It's basically, you know, dead. So that's done. Oh. It'd be nice to do the ice tower now, but I'm not quite ready. So I'm traveling across the ocean. Unlike some other games, the majority of the water is on the outside. So you can't easily, like, loop around the world. It takes a little bit of time, but here's the forest tower is one of 3 towers that we have to take out to weaken the Swamp King, or otherwise he's probably, dang it, I knew that was gonna happen. Drop. That thing's not very good anyway. I always forget about that. I actually do not have a shield yet, and we'll find one before too long to kind of fill out our equipment. But the shield, I don't get just to keep an extra slot open, so I'm not constantly having to sell as much stuff. But the main limiting factor in this is like a level 20 to 25 area. It is not terribly difficult. You're expected to do this a lot earlier in the game, but I didn't really have any reason to. There is something that is pretty useful here that will get the Healing Dew artifact. That is a mid-heal. So far... Oh, dang it. I forgot. Don't grab the items here. I probably have enough with my gear right now to clear the 200,000 that I need, but I don't have another artifact that I still need before I can get the 200,000 gold item. There we go. So we had to get both of the keys that were here, both green keys. We got them. We're good to go. And then it's more or less a straight shot to the boss. This is not a, this is actually a very simple and basic area, but because you have to retrace your steps more or less 100%, it seems a lot longer than it is. Oh. My fingers got off of the proper keys there. So, you notice every tower, you have this exact same scenario where there is a goblin flying north of you right when you walk in. So, anyway, this is the Healing Dew artifact. It's a mid-heal. It doesn't do a whole lot more than the basic heal, but I go ahead and get it anyway because it's just right there. And now it's boss time. The Bringer of Despair is down in 2 hits. So much for him. I think he might be weak to one of the elements I'm using too. So we just completely crushed him. And, oh. Let's go ahead and warp to Greenvale. Airship summon. Exactly, he is now the, oh shoot. Oh, you know what? We haven't done it in a while, let's go ahead and rest. One of the things about getting to level 50 is that you no longer just randomly gain levels to get your stuff back. Yeah, we'll see him again. We're not done with the Bringer of Despair. There are, oh, I forgot to use that too. And there we go. We've actually broken the money threshold thanks to the goods from that area. However, we're not quite ready to do it. In fact, let's see. I think it's right here. Yeah, there it is. This is one of 3 bosses that I'm going to be fighting here that has a very real chance of killing me. I don't have any way to heal out damage, so I have to... not in a serious way. I have to out-damage people. So, this lady wants us to basically purify this graveyard. We're not going to finish the quest because I don't have any reason to. I am going to grab the chest here, though. Or I guess it was the other one. I skipped these, but this will give me a little bit of survivability. Just because what I'm going to get here is a shield, which I haven't had one the entire game. So there's an extra 20 defense. This enemy attacks twice sometimes and does a lot of physical damage. So, yes, I've come to disturb your rest. I am going to throw out the shield and hope that he doesn't do too much damage before I do too much damage to him. The shield, how long it lasts is random, and hey, we won, so easy peasy. Except for the 2 times I died in practice yesterday. And the reason why we're doing this at all is for, there is a shield here that is very useful for us. We end up using 2 different shields at the end of the game. Plus there's this artifact, which this is our full heal spell. So we now have the ability to actually heal ourselves in battle for more than what the enemies are going to do damage to us. Until that, we didn't have it. But we had to go through that boss fight, who was kind of hard. So none of the other bosses are particularly worrisome up to this point. Again, we still have 2 fights. Oh, I forgot. I gotta go all the way around. There's still 2 fights that can be, you know, potential to die on, because the enemy likes to crit, and I can't survive crits very easily, and I can't throw out heal spells very aggressively because I don't have a whole lot of MP in the MP pool. I think the Shaman and the Explorer wind up, like the Explorer winds up with easily over like 200 MP without using items. The Shaman class gets a much higher amount. So we're going to use the Elixir of Guile. We're going to equip the Frost Shield, which increases our defense against fire attacks. Which is, you know, useful. There is a better shield, but I'm not going to get it because it was in the ice cave and I'm not going back there. That's basically it. Here is one of the more annoying elements of the game. There's even like an FAQ in the or a Steam guide that tells you exactly how to get through here. There is nothing obvious about how to do this. And now we also gained the Flame Shield, which the Flame Shield has the exact same defense as the Frost Shield, which makes it, you know, pretty useful. Get the Red Hood. And north. So the way we have to go is north, but this whole pathing doesn't make any real sense. Again, I know it because I've looked it up and I have it written down. I don't know how many times I would do this to remember it. Unfortunately, it isn't like the pathing through the desert in the Magic of Scheherazade, the speedrun I have coming up tomorrow night, very late here in Retrothon. I'm doing a little plug for myself. Where there is a desert route that you have to find a special pathing through, that you can find a character who tells you how to do it. And I think I'm doing this entire area wrong because I completely forget how to do it, but maybe not. Oh, run. I don't care. I don't need any more stuff. We have enough money. We have enough sellables. We're just gonna rush. Pretty much everything from here on out is just completing everything we absolutely have to complete to finish the game. Another artifact that we don't need. Yeah. The labyrinths feel pretty labyrinthy. And again, there aren't any maps that anyone has made to kind of show you how to go through them. So I'm just operating off of my best memory. And hey, it's the bringer of drought. So, see, I'm going to start getting a lot more aggressive with my button smashing, since I have a pretty good idea of when I need to heal. If I ever see my hit points go below 500, we heal, and then we just smash attacks. There are some different things you could do to amplify attack, like there is a Berserker's Rage ability. You like him? Well, he's dead, but... Oh, yes, destroy the artifact. That's the whole point. Bring her droughts. For parties, that's hilarious. Alright, So we're just gonna fly back to Wangan. It needs to be daytime for what we're going to do. First, we're gonna sell off stuff we don't need, which is the Night Shield, the Longsword, the Flame Armor, not the Flame Shield. I accidentally sold that yesterday. It's not, you know, mission critical, I guess, but it makes something a little easier. Yes, you're meant to have 4 party members. I sold off the rest of my party into what Retrothon has put. I sent them to summer camp. I totally did not sell them into slavery. Yes. But the classes they have a pretty strong Final Fantasy feel, but it's not quite that. And there we go. We just beat this guy. He basically is, I used to kick butt, but now I'm retired. He's like, do you think you can beat me? Oops. And I say, yes, of course I can beat you. And then I do. Finger painting and playing Capture the Flag. I hope so, too. So he thinks, hey, how about I sell you this cool item I have for 200,000? I didn't know this existed for a long time. It replaces the gauntlets. It doesn't give a stat boost, but what it does is it increases our effective level by 5. And as a result, that makes it less likely that enemies can crit us, which happens to be the single thing that makes the rest of this game difficult. So anyway, we're entering the Temple of Light. This one's fun. It's a little bit like the staff quest we had earlier, where you have to do it with an NPC, but and it may end somewhat similarly. But there is an extraordinarily difficult boss to solo in here, because I forget what his name is, but I've been calling him Giga Turtle, just like Turtle of Death, Destroyer of Worlds. He is the single scariest fight I have. I can still die, specifically to the boss of the game can kill me, but this guy is more likely to do it if I'm not Ultra Kara. You gain an item earlier that increases your escape rate by a lot. I'm still not 100%, but I can run from almost everything. It's basically the first thing I do in the game. I get the airship, and then I go get that thing that lets me escape. So you do a lot of running. And yeah, all the experience gaining is basically set up to do at one time. Yeah, it definitely helps, because some of the mobs are just really frustrating to fight. Some of them are kind of fun. But yeah, as we're going up here, we find that every floor involves that both of us, like, one of us gets captured and the other one has to unlock to help us go. So it's basically a 2-person job, and you have to keep saving one another to get everything. So, but the ultimate power is locked up here in this Temple of Light. So, like, here's a chest. This chest has 200 gold in it. I have no desire to do anything with that. However, I have to get locked up so that this guy can let me go. If I don't get locked up here, the stairway to the next floor doesn't open up. And the unlocking mechanism is in the next floor. However, the unlocking mechanism locks him in a room. And here we go. This is the boss fight I was warning about. Dire Turtle. Hey, cool. He did. Healing right away. I gotta be real careful. When he uses Berserker's Rage, I use Defend. And I just wait till it wears off. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna put the shield back up, because he can get 2 attacks, and I have not seen anything in the game that does more physical damage than him. So we're gonna go ahead and heal. Just button smashing like crazy at this point. And we got him. Okay, good. I get the shield spell specifically just for that guy. So this flame lets me know that the ultimate power is on the left, or I can save my ally on the right. Normally the right is the better option, but for a solo playthrough, we want the Dark Blade. It is a better weapon than what I have. It's not the best weapon in the game, but it absorbs hit points from enemies when you attack them. And so our ally is just stuck on the right side, and well, we'll see in the ending. The ending really tries to make you feel bad about some of these decisions, and that decision in particular tends to be pretty terrible. So we are in the ice tower. I didn't finish this up before. I wanted to finish the entire basement. Yeah, see there, we just failed to run. But I didn't finish the entire basement, so I have to go back to get something. Unfortunate, but it's not that big of a deal. The ally... Is that, I'm trying to remember. It's one of those Bioshock-esque games. Where it says, I just can't remember which one it was. Yes, so, going down here. Yeah, it just so happens that doing, like, the worst things possible tends to be the right way to get to the end of the game. Oh, wait, I got the key, that's right. To get through it as quickly as possible. So, I got the blue key. That gives me the ability to actually finish this. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this flame for the heck of it. I think I go with this. Nope. I think it's Fallout, because I didn't play that one as much. I'm sure if it was Mass Effect I would know, because I've played through that series multiple times. And I've played Fallout 4 once for like 20 hours. Oh, there must be something else that sounds similar to that then, because I never played that one. Oh, whoops. I went the wrong direction. I got a little distracted and decided to just attack them. So we are actually very close to the end of the game. You might look at the estimate there and think, wow, don't you have a lot longer to go? Well, it lines up that I've rerouted a lot of stuff in this game, and it's a lot quicker now. So, I don't care about that. It's the key that I need. There we go. I don't want any more items. I don't need to sell anything. I think... Or you know what? Maybe it was. I've played... The only Telltale game game that I've played is The Wolf Among Us. And that sounds familiar, so they might use the same sort of thing then. Which is a good game. I can't recommend it because there is some very not safe for work elements to that game. I wouldn't stream it. but it is enjoyable anyway for a point and clicker. Alright, time to fight the final of the tower bosses. Let's go ahead and throw up the shield, even though... fun thing about this enemy is that it absorbs your hit points too. So I'm absorbing its hit points, it's absorbing my hit points, we're going back and forth. Except I'm doing a whole lot more damage than it is, so it's not a big deal if you can't follow what's going on. Because I'm just trying to go fast. But just assume I'm doing more damage than it is. And let's heal. Oh, this is, by the time you get here, it's not a very difficult boss, but it uses a lot of AoE stuff, which with one character doesn't do anything. Also, I started to mention this before, and I kind of forgot, or I didn't finish the thought. The way elemental resistances work in this game is that, you know, for every resistance you have, the enemy does half the damage. So, hey, there's the Swamp King's castle. We'll be there in just a moment. As usual, I forgot to actually warp here. I get these warps and then I forget they exist. There we go. And I didn't... Well, I guess I could save it here. It doesn't really matter. My save was in Wangan, which is like barely any difference away. So we're going at the Swamp King now. His palace has all this swamp, but I don't actually have to touch any of it. Thank you for the good luck. We have boss refights to do, which... So, hey, it's the Forest Guardian this time. It's not the Bringer of Despair. He's now the Forest Guardian. Even though he's the same thing, basically. Except I'm doing a lot less damage. But he is not a major threat. I say right as he crits me 2 different turns in a row. Well, without the airship, to get here, you have to go through the poison cave, which is just obnoxious amounts of poison, and then all the poison up to the palace. So the fact that I have the airship kind of nullifies all that, but it's definitely a possibility there. So the first one sunk into the swamp. Yeah. So this one's built, I guess, on top of the other one. Forest key. There, we got it. And nice Monty Python reference. We're gonna go to the desert guide next. I can leave in full heal at any point, but I'm pretty confident that I don't need to until I get to the final boss. So I'll throw out the shield again. I probably don't need it because it wears off too quickly, and these bosses do things that don't just do physical damage. But sorry, I never finished my elemental explanation, and it's kind of important. So anything that reduces elemental damage reduces the damage by half. If you get another stack of it, like right now, I have the frost shield. I should have healed there. That was a little dangerous. The circlet I have reduces elemental damage by half, and the frost shield reduces flame damage by half, so any flame elements are actually doing a quarter damage. So it is all reducing them, it's making it... Okay, there we go. He's done. Yeah, I think I'm good to fight the third boss here too before I go on. I'll just go ahead and full heal. And then I'll have to warp out to heal up because the final boss can be a problem. That turtle I fought earlier is more of a challenge, I think. So we're not even going to use the thing here. Just physically attack. And maybe I'll stop missing. Wow, I've missed like 3 times in a row. I'm just listening for the healing noise it makes when I hit, more so than actually watching how much damage I'm doing. There we go. So I forgot to put on the, I meant to flip shields and I forgot, and that was actually bad. Because now I'm getting hit a little bit more by the blizzard stuff, but not bad in the sense that I was at risk of dying, just bad in that it wasn't optimal. So I'm going to leave, and we'll come back, and then it'll be Swamp King time. Again, while I have a moment, I should mention that there are actually, on top of the multiple endings depending on how you fill out quest chains, there are also multiple endings for the actual game itself, which you will see me... What I'm doing is not the worst ending, but not the best. I might actually show everyone the worst ending if we have some time, because I think I'm way ahead of schedule. I'm way ahead of estimate. I think we're ahead of schedule anyway, so I don't think they'd mind if I show off a couple of things that we won't do normally. I think it was supposed to be, but it's possible that they're throwing in a run to make up for the fact that I think when I started we were like 40 minutes ahead. But I don't know. So here we go. Swamp King, final boss in the game. And this is our strategy. Just attack like crazy. Oh, except he immediately crits me. So he uses all of the endgame magic. Highest level tier magic. It's a gigantic pain with multiple characters because almost all of them are AoEs except for the spell Dragon's Breath, which is a top tier fire spell, but that's why I have the Frost Shield equipped to reduce that one by the most. But yeah, otherwise we're just fighting Cthulhu here, just smashing them up as much as we can. I don't bother using the shield because he doesn't do physical attacks all that often. He uses a lot of spells. And he has something like 10 to 15,000 hit points, so it's a bit of a slog. And it's possible if I miss enough or he crits enough that I'll actually run out of magic and can't win. That's why I go so hard into trying to find every single strength potion. There we go. Tap, tap. And this game, as far as I know, doesn't let you rearrange your inputs. So I'm tapping two different attack buttons. Good point. He's just gonna chill while he's fighting. And I'm running a little bit low on magic. I only have one full heal left. So if we don't pound him down here, we might have to just... Nope, there we go, and that is it. Dash has won in 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 23 seconds, which is like a 25-minute world record. That's my own world record, so... I knew this rerouting was gonna save some time. I skipped a lot of stuff I don't need for money, and we got some good luck too. The beginning was absolutely terrible. Game crashed. I had to reset sometimes, but it worked out, or I kept dying. So now the ending is very lengthy, as it tells you everything, every result at the end of all of your different options. And thank you for the GGs, everyone. So the adventurers, I'm just going to kind of read them out loud. If just as a general heads up to everyone, if you need me to cut, just let me know in Discord. I have it open, and I'll do that. Or let me know here. But the adventurers reached the town of Greenvale. There was an artifact. It was the source of the healing waters, which Greenvale's people made their living. Now Greenvale is without its artifact. The town was thrown into poverty, and its people suffered for years. Eventually, a new specialty was invented. So basically, we destroyed the town. Which I think is what... I think that was you, Retrothon, at the beginning, said that. Like, well, that town's screwed. Let's see. The adventurers found the missing boy. The boy's father granted them a valuable sword as a reward, but in reality, we lied to him, and the adventurers robbed the father of any chance of closure. They doomed him to forever worry about his son's well-being. His anxiety would follow him to the end of his days. Yeah, I've been rerouting this occasionally, but I never actually sat down and did a full run timed. So, and this could be faster because there's different routes you could do that would still make this a whole lot faster. That I didn't want to do because it would involve save scumming at the beginning of the game. That no one wants to watch me do. So, the treasure will only be granted to those who withstand the pain. The adventurers ignore the rumors and search Wynn's grave. The treasure teaches us the importance of not being overconfident and knowing when to run. It is to punish you for allowing your greed to twist your perception so. We found the treasure, but by taking it, they robbed Wynn's power of its source, erasing it from this world forevermore. Well, thank you. The original run of this game was by, I think his name is pronounced Endar Iyer. He did, honestly, half of the utilities I used to learn the game were created by him. He deserves a lot of credit. His initial run was a little over 3 hours, which he did with a full party. I watched parts of it and played it, and I'm like, this game has to be faster solo. And that was the big time save. And this one was just rerouting stuff that kept killing me, that I didn't need to do early till later. So, the father wanted his son to stop daydreaming about wind. Just as his father hoped, the young boy grew up into a hard-working young man. Every day, he turned up to work promptly. Every evening, he went home to sleep. Even on his days off, he simply went to work. He really had nothing else to do. That young boy, with his head full of dreams, had turned into a really boring adult. The sort of dreary adult who does the same thing over and over. But we got paid, so... I think the other option ends up with that kid getting killed, so... this might be preferable. Depends on how you want to live your life, I guess. The delivery of the strange package obtained in the secret base in Foreign. Despite their suspicions, the adventurers followed the instructions, delivered the package. This made the scoundrels think, these adventurers are gullible, we can make them do whatever we want. The scoundrels continued to recruit gullible travelers to transport their wares all over the country. Eventually, some of the adventurers rose up against the scoundrels in revenge and basically killed all of them. So that is actually a positive ending, depending on how you looked at it. The scoundrels eventually got trounced. So, this is the swordsmith. He wanted to build a legendary sword. We helped him do it. It was a masterpiece. It was a mid-level weapon. But he had the desire. That apparently prompted somebody else to want to build a sword, which we'll get into in a second. This one's terrible. A woman searching for her child, the adventurers took pity on her and agreed to help. She asked them to go to the kidnapper's hideout, as she was sure it was them who had taken her son. The adventurers, believing the mother would not be able to cope should they come back empty-handed, delivered a different child to the woman. The woman wept tears of joy. After paying the adventurers for the help, she and her son began their lives together. But as her son grew, so did a sense of unease in the woman's heart. Is this child really my son? One day she suddenly knew in her heart he wasn't, and vowed to find her real son. But by the time she realized, years and years had passed, too long to find a missing child. Yep, we did that. So, Cuomo, the village we never went to, and it's spelled differently a couple different times. I think there was some translation issues. Again, this game was originally in Japanese, and I think the translation was done... this was an indie developer, so it was probably kind of an indie translation. Yeah. So, the adventurers found all the missing people had been summoned to a certain mansion. Turned out the sorcerer had used the power of an artifact to cast the people of the village into an eternal slumber. Something gave the adventurers pause when they stood face to face with the sorcerers. In his eyes they could see great sorrow. Something the way he looked at them struck a chord. The adventurers left without harming him. There's actually more to that quest that's interesting, but I didn't do it because the rewards aren't really worth the time. The adventurers decided to help the rather pushy inventor in Wangan. They delivered the glowstone. He developed an explosive to blow through walls. First, it was difficult to produce the explosive. After years of effort, the inventor made a breakthrough. Then a certain devious general adopted the explosive for use in the battlefield. His invention caused countless deaths. The inventor was devastated his creation had been used for evil. He devoted himself to the creation of peaceful things from then on. Man's mission to dig a tunnel to observe a volcano had been stopped by a layer of particularly hard rock. The adventurers decided to help the man by lending him the tunneling tool an inventor had given them. And after a lot of hard work, the tunnel was finally completed. Then the man realized, to reach the treasure, a sacrifice would be necessary. The man turned around and for one last time had met with the adventurers who had made his dream possible. And deep in the caves of that island, adventurers spotted a golden staff. Obtaining the treasure of the caves required teamwork, so the group teamed up with a man they met in the tunnels. The adventurers were tasked with flipping a hidden switch outside of the treasure room. What honest people. That's what the man thought about the adventurers. Perhaps you're thinking he was just pretending to be nice and was preparing to betray the adventurers. But actually, it was the other way around. The adventurers believed the spoil should go entirely to them. They locked the man in a dark room and took the staff. They never understood the true value of the staff, and to this day, those brutish adventurers are still pushing people around. They don't say anything about the guy just, dying. Because that's 100% what happened. He just got poisoned to death. Oh, I clicked off the game. Sorry. Game doesn't work if you're not clicked on it. Oh, I didn't notice that, but that totally makes sense. That explains why it looks that way. Thank you for mentioning it. The descending lower letters. So, the Sarah and Sand clans, trapped in conflict for more than 100 years. Sarah holding the Holy Land from their fortress, and Sand trying to claim it for their own. In a bid to put an end to the war, the adventurers revealed the location of a hidden route to the leader of the Sarah clan. The resulting surprise attack by Sarah was abruptly brought an end to the war. Throughout the Sand Fortress, piles of corpses rotted in the heat, and blood covered the floors. A one-sided attack had led to a brutal one-sided slaughter. So the war ended, and Sarah retained control of their Holy Land, but at the cost of countless lives. Perhaps the bloodshed was inevitable. Perhaps all the adventurers had done was turn 100 years of death and suffering into one harrowing night of pain. It's hard to find a good option to end that one, to be honest. So, that sword, its blade as white as driven snow with a faint chilling aura exuding from it, Frostblade. As the man sold the sword to the adventurers, his expression changed, a smile on his face disappeared. Making the Frostblade alone was not enough for him. He wanted the adventurers to trust in his ability. We gave him the Flame Blade. His eyes of gratitude came over. Fire and Ice made the Frostblade, which Icefire would establish the man as one of the greatest weaponsmiths of the world. He joined forces with the creator of Flame Blade with the aim to create an even greater weapon. So that's just that one doesn't really have a whole lot of options, I think. It's just kind of a positive ending. So here, the man drank down the crystals of life, and instantly his body was frozen like ice and he no longer moved. To help him out of his predicament, the adventurers went to find a Miltberry. But even if the frozen bodies returned to normal, the man's memory would be lost forever. There would be no reward. The adventurers decided to pay the price and use the berry to unfreeze the man. The man remembered nothing of his past. Sometime later, the man heard the story of the crystals of life, and once again became captivated by their call, and so he turned his body to ice once more. Like, you think this is going to be finally a good one. Nope. Oh. And the alternate option on that one sounds really terrible, too. So, the adventurers came across the lookout at the brink of destruction. Working with a soldier, they came up with a plan to wipe out the attacking monsters. The adventurers volunteered to set off the dynamite in the basement of the lookout tower. Nothing could have possibly survived such a huge explosion. Although the attack was stopped, it was at a great cost. The town of Frosthaven understood then what true tragedy is. Family, friends, lovers, if even one person had survived the attack, perhaps Frosthaven's grief would not have been so deep. If only a more controlled method had been used, perhaps at least one person could have been saved. Thanks to the rash actions of adventurers, not a soul could be saved. So we just game lets us know we just killed a bunch of people. That's great. Thank you for the GG synth pop. You were right. It sounds like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, just a little. That movie was so good. The first, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Seeking the ultimate power, the adventurers joined forces with a soldier they met at the Temple of Power. It's the Temple of Light. They actually say it wrong here. By working together with the soldier, they were able to make their way through the temple. The soldier moved up ahead to open access to the treasure room, but got trapped on the final floor. The adventurers were then presented with a choice, either ultimate power or the life of their ally. They chose power. And power they received. The weapon they obtained was powerful and cruel. But the soldier who had so selflessly offered to help them faced an eternity of solitude. Infinite isolation, unbearable thirst, the slow decline of sanity. The soldier, trapped in nothingness, began to feel the very edges of his existence slowly being eroded away. It's hard to say, you feel so bad. But you need the sword to beat the game as the way I was doing it, so I don't know what other option there is. There's better weapon, but it takes way too much time to get. So there we go. So, the jar and the goblins it once contained. The adventurers failed to locate all of the goblins. The ones that remained free began to take their revenge on the jars of the world. No matter where they were hidden or what they were made from, every jar meant a tragic end. Oh. Some months later, with all pots smashed, the goblins turned their hatred toward the world beyond the skies. I don't know what that last part means, but basically that's just it changes if you do it different. Oh, we're almost done. The adventurers decided to sell off some of their party members. Clearly they didn't think they were very useful. What became of them? Did they look back in anger? Do they wallow in despair? Do they dream of revenge? That these thoughts plague your mind is one part of their revenge. So yes, we did start the run, selling off our entire party into slavery. It was great. And after a long and grueling quest, the adventurers finally defeated the Swamp King. With a sudden roar of sound, his castle began to collapse. Slowly, the adventurers began to lose consciousness. Light slowly enveloped their bodies, the memories of their quest still fresh in their minds. As the light engulfed them, their bodies began to tear apart, eventually turning to particles. They became a new energy source. Then the light surrounded the world. A great gray cloud began to shroud the earth. Warning of a new battle. So basically the ending is that we ended up dying at the end, and we get turned into artifacts. But we saved the world, except maybe we didn't. But that's the end. Yeah, there's a lot of weird, negative, bad things that you can do. There's a lot of positive ones too, but overall, the game is pretty dark. So, and that's it. That was the full length of the credits. Again, it doesn't say so, but credit to Bluffman who made the game. Artifact Adventure Gaiden exists too. I might try to do a speedrun for that at some point. It's a lot of fun, but it's not traditional RPG. It's more like action, like you have to move around and hit things. If I remember right, the battles kind of look like playing Joust, but I'm probably, misrepresenting that. So, thanks everybody for watching. Again, I'll be back. I have plenty of other speedruns in this thing. I think I'm back tomorrow night towards the beginning of the NES block. And I believe after this, we are going to be joined by Shima, who is doing some Toho runs. So thank you again, and enjoy the rest of the marathon.